This is First Contact, Stories of the Call Center.
So with that, one of the interesting things is, when you look at entrepreneurs and you look at the successes they have, you always look back and go, gosh, could I have done that? Or what could I have done in my career to have been able to aspire to that? Or for those that say, hey, entrepreneurship's not my thing, what would you say to that group that says, hey, I'd love to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm maybe scared of it, or, I've tried and I've failed. What advice could you give them to help them be able to look and go, hey, if you want to go build and grow your own business, here's some things I learned or some things that you could probably take on your journey.
So I think not everyone's built for entrepreneurship, and that's not a bad thing. I think one thing that people need to evaluate is, what is it going to take to be successful in business and in that industry? And if you're not built for that, that's okay. Go find something you're built for and enjoy yourself, because life's too short to try to be somebody you're not, doing something you don't want to do. So that's first and foremost. And some of that's discovery. So it goes back to something you said earlier too, which is I think and agree, there's two ways to learn: mentors and mistakes. And we all at times have probably done both of those things. I find mentoring to be far less painful than mistake learning. I was a mistake learner for 32 years straight. I'm very familiar with mistake learning. So one thing I would suggest is find a mentor, find someone who's extremely, you trust, who's experienced or knowledgeable in those areas you're evaluating. I wouldn't go to a person who's never been an entrepreneur or who has not been successful in business to try to figure out what that's like. I think you need to talk to somebody who's been in the trenches, understands the difficulty of what that is. The other piece, and I just had this conversation with my daughter the other day because she's getting ready to graduate college, and she's evaluating, like, do I continue on and get my master's degree? Do I go work for somebody else? Do I start my own business? I only have the experience I have with you, Dad, because she runs our PR and she worked in recruiting and stuff like that. And I said, I think the other piece that you need to do, Peyton, and I would suggest this to anybody else, is take a second, kind of like we did with LEC, and do some soul searching. Look at how you're built and the things that you enjoy and where you feel the most powerful. It doesn't mean you have to be the most experienced, because at certain ages you may not be, right? You may not have the time there, and that doesn't mean you can't go get experience or knowledge. It's just about that awareness. But really do some soul searching on, what do you enjoy? How are you built? What type of environments do you thrive in and feel passionate about? When you look at the world and you look at business and you look at situations, what problems bother you the most? Like, that tells you it's indicative of things that you're supposed to go help solve, right? And that keeps you passionate. Because as an entrepreneur, if you're not passionate about what you're doing and you're not in love with it, it's going to be really hard to stick with it, because it's not easy. It is at times very, very difficult, and you're having to learn things on the fly. But if you understand who you are, where you're from, and what you're about, and what you want very clearly, those things drive you in those down times or in those difficult times, and they're also your compass when you're making decisions. Because as a business owner, if you decide to go the entrepreneurial route, one of the things that most entrepreneurs struggle with early on is, I took on too many different types of business, or I didn't understand who my client was. Well, because you didn't really drill in and figure out who you are and what you're about, who you're trying to service, and then stay with that, right? You're going to learn and you may be able to expand, but understanding that core very early on, I think, is powerful, because then it gives you insight. And again, it's all about, what do I like? What do I not like? I always start with what you don't like, because it's so easy to see. All of us it's easier for us to find the things that rub us the wrong way because they bother us. So get that down. And then from that clarity, you'll begin to start seeing what you do like and what you are passionate about. You don't want to camp out over there and just turn it into a complaint session, but it does create some clarity where then you can go figure out what those things are. And then you take that and you go to a mentor or something like that and say, help me discuss this and bounce this off of, to figure out maybe some options and ideas on what next steps may be and what I need to do. And then from there, again, you can try to do it on your own, or you can get financial mentors and people that you trust that way, and business mentors, and there's stuff to learn online. But those are my big suggestions for people who are early on. Don't be scared to do it. We live in a world where information is everywhere. It's no longer the day of there's a guy in a room who holds all the information, and the only way for me to get it is to sign up for his school and attend his class. That's a way, but we don't live in that world anyway. So don't be scared to journey out and chase your dreams, because there's endless and infinite possibilities for you to be successful, but you do need to be tactical about them, and first and foremost, understand who you are and what you want.